Topic 1. Model minority victim blaming. Parent does not acknowledge systemic racism. Action.
Oh, Dad, did you know that 1 in 4 Black men in the US go through the correction systems in their lifetime? That's so high.
It's not that high. Like, it's not surprising. 1 in 4. I can believe that number.
Oh, you mean because they're unfairly arrested all the time?
I mean, could you really say that they're going to corrections facility if there's really nothing to be corrected? Like, if they're going to a corrections facility, there's always something that has to be corrected. I guess with them, there's just more.
What does that even mean? There needs to be more that to be corrected with them. They're also twice as likely to be brutalized by the police. Do you think they deserve that too?
Uh, let me tell you a story, right? So I got pulled over one time for speeding. I'm a very good driver. I only got pulled over one time, and I was speeding. You know what I did? I stayed in my car. I had my license and my registration already out. When the officer pulled up to my window, I had my hands up. I said, "Officer, here my license. Here's my registration." And I apologized to him. I said, "I'm sorry, I was speeding," and I didn't fight. I didn't fight because that's why they're more likely to fight the police, right? Because they're just more aggressive and they're more likely to fight the police. So if they fight back, then they're more likely to get brutalized or more likely to get attacked. And
I'm sorry, but that's such a racist thing to say, Dad. Can I tell you why I think so?
yeah, tell me why.
So when you got pulled over, they didn't assume that you were going to be aggressive or have a gun because you're not Black. They probably had the assumption that you'd be obedient because that's what people think about Asians. People who are Black and brown are automatically assumed to be more aggressive, just like you said. They're going to be more aggressive. They're going to be more likely to attack. They're going to be like this, and that's what police think too. You remember that video of Philando Castillo? Did he start fighting?
No, that one case, that was the cop's fault, right? But in many of the other cases, I still believe the victim, the supposed victim, must have done something wrong.
One case is one whole human life. And the man that murdered him didn't go to jail. And Dad, that's like literally a psychology thing. Like thinking that bad things happen to other people and that good things happen to us because of our actions, like having your registration out or whatever. But the reality is that we deal with way less racism and discrimination than Black people. Plus, that's just one case we know about. There's so many other stories of Black people being killed or traumatized because of racial bias or police negligence. Tanisha Anderson, Stephen Clark, Terrence Crutcher, Dominic Clayton.
Okay. I see where you're coming from, but like I just don't really, I just don't know.
I mean, I'm not an expert on this either, but I've been seeing a lot of articles and posts on how the justice system and criminal systems are racist and how they continue to victimize Black people. They try to use Black people in order to make their systems more profitable. I think we really need to pay attention to this and start challenging some of the assumptions that we have.
If this is something you really care about, sure, whatever. I'll sit down and we can like airplay on the TV and read the articles together, whatever. But it's after dinner because I really don't want to talk about this right now.
Okay.
Joyce and Dad, sounds like that was such an important conversation that you discussed, but let's reflect on how we are doing. So let's see how everybody feeling as we are trying to learn and practice the 3 R's that we talk about. The first R would be recognizing your feeling. Okay, so let's see, what feeling are you having, Dad?
I feel kind of frustrated with my daughter.
So frustrated, okay. And then the second R would be realizing what's the cause of the feeling.
Maybe I am a little narrow-minded about racism and the prejudice and my biases.
So that's
maybe that's where the frustration is coming from.
Okay, so the frustration coming from how you see, how you perceive about the racism. Okay. All right. So what about Joyce? Like, you want to share with us how you're feeling the first R? Recognizing your feeling just now when you talk to your dad?
Feel pretty angry at him.
You were
Really frustrated
angry.
as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I can see like you know, you were relatively calm just now, but I think like deep down you might have a lot of frustration at him. You were trying to perhaps trying to make your point across about racism. So what would be your second R to realizing where's the frustration come from?
Probably because he's not listening to me or what I have to say, even though I feel that's really important.
Okay. So feels like you're talking to a wall, that kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's everybody practice the R number 3. Take some deep breath so we are in a better place to talk, carry out a conversation. Breathe in and out. Okay, a couple more times. All right, so that's how we regulate our emotion. We're realizing, we recognize it, realize it, and we regulate it. Okay. So now let's look at what's the perspective of how we think in a certain way. So sounds like that you mentioned just now, perhaps your frustration might be coming from you so-called like your mind is narrow on how you view about racism. Like, what do you say about that? What makes you feel
Maybe
that way?
maybe my implicit biases are clouding what my daughter is trying to tell me. It changes my perspective to where I kind of am a little ignore what she says a little bit.
You felt you ignored that. Okay, you actually picked that up. That's really a great thing that you realize that you felt that there's some resistance to the when Joyce tried to point it out. Okay,
Right.
so were you kind of ready to make some changes, or like you know, can I see that like Joyce is sounds like really hoping that you may join her to you know, perhaps learn more about what it is all about, or like are you at this time like ready to make some changes?
I think most importantly, I want to be supportive to Joyce and maybe learn together about anti-racism.
Mhm.
Um, just to learn together and most importantly support her as her dad.
You want to support her as her dad. So sounds like although it may not be total acceptance what it is, but you want to support her because she's your daughter, you are her dad. Okay.
Right.
So Joyce, like correct me if I'm wrong. Like it sounds like, you know, there's one point you mentioned, you know, perhaps like being Asian, we don't really get the same level of discrimination or racism as other minority like Black. You know, on the flip side, you know, like I can see it is an important message to deliver the awareness of racism, because you know, this affects all of us, not just the Black people. It really also affects the Asian American along with many other minority. Perhaps that, or perhaps Joyce, correct me if I'm wrong, that you are helping, you are eager to learn more racism is also in a way helping your children as Asian American too. Joyce, you want to have anything say about that?
I think it's really important to bring awareness, otherwise people won't know about it. Like a lot of things that I know about racism and the things going on today is because other people shared and made me more aware, which made me really eager to help out because I
Mhm.
want them to be like just as happy and treated fairly just like we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Right. So we don't want to, that's a sign of humanity too, right? Like we don't want to see other people in the society are treated, mistreated in certain way. And we are actually directly being impacted by the society. So anything that like, anything you want to say in concluding, like we are ready to make changes?
You know, maybe I can try and open my mind and see things from a different perspective, and maybe with some curiosity look into anti-racism and learn together. I think I would be ready to do that.
Right, right. I also point that out, I also make an observation about Joyce, like towards the end, you mentioned to your dad, hey, maybe like, I don't know what is it too, but like, I'm not teaching you a lesson, Dad, but like, I want to have your support and like, we can all learn together. Is it what you're trying to say? Joyce? Yeah, okay. All right. So sounds like we are in a better place. Well, it is, again, this is one of the many conversations that we will have about Black Lives Matters, especially in Asian family. So are you ready to have more conversation? Stay tuned to our next video.